When people look at success, they see the glitz, the glamour, and the end results. What they don't see is the path that leads there. I never imagined that I would be where I am today. I grew up in a poor family, and my path was full of failures. But what people need to understand is that success isn't just luck or talent. It's the result of constant action, even in the face of failure. How many times are you willing to fail before you achieve what you want? In my case, there were many. More qualified candidates beat me many times, but the difference was in my persistence. I never stopped acting, even when the chances seemed nil. The truth is that entrepreneurship requires sacrifice, unwavering resilience, and a clear vision of what you are trying to achieve. When I founded Alibaba, we weren't just trying to sell products. Our goal was to empower small businesses so that they could compete globally. That was the purpose that guided us, and it's something that every entrepreneur needs to understand. Success isn't about building something for yourself. It's about impacting the world. If you don't act with this mindset, sooner or later your venture will fail. So ask yourself, what am I really doing to improve the lives of the people around me? Brutally honest success is built on countless failures. In the early days of Alibaba, we failed again and again. We made over 1,000 mistakes. But it was through these failures that we learned and adjusted our path. Here's the reality. You'll never get it right on the first try. And you know what? That's okay. Each mistake brings a new lesson, a new perspective that better prepares you for the next attempt. I've always insisted that failure is not the opposite of success, but an essential part of it. The real question is, how do you respond to your mistakes? Do you take action and keep trying, or do you just give up? I always joke that I've become a rejection expert because I've been told no on so many occasions that I've lost count. And this is something many people don't want to hear. The road to success is paved with rejections and challenges. But if you don't have the willpower to keep going, even when it seems like everything is against you, then you'll never experience true success. People look at the end result and forget that success, more often than not, is the result of painful resilience. So if you're on an entrepreneurial journey, be prepared for difficult moments. They are inevitable. The real key to success isn't just a good idea or money. It's the ability to take action, even when the going gets tough. Many people give up before they even start to see results. And here's another hard truth. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's an accumulation of small actions, decisions that you make every day. The sooner you understand this, the better prepared you will be to face the challenges. Success, contrary to what many people think, is a marathon, not a sprint. And what will keep you going in this marathon is your ability to act and react, even when everything seems to be falling apart around you. Many people believe that you need to accomplish great things or have vast resources to make a difference in the world. But real impact starts with small gestures. When we started Alibaba, we didn't have large sums of money or huge influence. What we did have was a clear vision and a sincere desire to help small businesses. It was the small actions repeated day after day that led us to build something really significant. It's important to understand that success isn't just about one big turning point, but the sum of many small decisions and actions. If you're waiting for something big to happen before you take action, you're wasting valuable time. In my experience, simple actions taken from the heart have a profound impact. At Alibaba, we always encourage our employees to get involved in small acts of kindness and philanthropy, because for us, real change doesn't start with big donations or big movements, but with the will to help, even in a humble way. I remember when an earthquake hit Japan, and of course we donated money, but we knew that the real value was in the small actions our employees took to help people directly. Giving money may be easy, but it's the dedication of time and effort that really transforms societies. Success, both in business and in personal life, is built in a similar way. Think of a plant growing. It doesn't become a majestic tree overnight. It's daily care, water and light that make it thrive. In the same way, every small action you take to achieve your goals, whether at work, in relationships, or for personal growth, will add up in the long run. If you neglect these small actions, you may miss out on seeing the fruits in the future. What you are doing today, even if it seems insignificant, is shaping who you will be tomorrow. An important concept that I always carry with me is that consistency in the little things is what really makes the difference. Many people underestimate the power of repetition, of the simple act of continuing, even when the results don't appear immediately. But it is these constant actions that, over time, generate the success that many see as instantaneous. When you act consistently, the rewards start to come naturally, and that's when the bigger opportunities arise. Don't underestimate the impact that small daily changes can have on your life. That's the essence of what success means to me. A collection of small gestures that, over time, create something extraordinary. When I think of transformative actions, I remember a phrase that struck me. You may not change the whole world, but you can change someone's world. And that often starts with a simple attitude. Success is not only in the destination, but in every step we take towards it. And every step matters. Many people confuse charity with philanthropy, but there is an essential difference between the two. Charity is when you donate money and walk away, hoping that the resources will make a difference. Philanthropy, on the other hand, goes further. It involves action, involvement, and the desire to make a lasting impact. I've always believed that giving money is easy, but the real value is in committing to the work and being part of the solution. At Alibaba, our approach has always been based on philanthropy. We didn't just want to donate to a cause. We wanted to use our expertise and resources to create sustainable change. If you want to make a real impact, you need to be willing to take direct action, not just write checks. The problem many people have is believing that only rich people can be philanthropists, which is not true. I believe that anyone, regardless of their financial status, can contribute to a better world. Philanthropy is not about the amount of money you donate, but about the action you take to improve other people's lives. I remember when we created a new Chinese character, Xin, which combines the words family and heart. This character represents the idea that we should treat the world as one big family, taking care of each other. This vision of unity and action is what drives philanthropy in its true sense. Real impact comes from actions that demonstrate care and commitment. A simple donation can be forgotten, but when you get deeply involved in a cause, you help create lasting solutions. At Alibaba, our mission has always been to empower small businesses, but we also understand that we have a social responsibility. It's not just about selling products or services, but about how we can help transform communities. This philanthropic mindset guides us in many of our decisions. If you really want to make an impact, you need to be ready to put your hand in and be an active part of the transformation you want to see. The difference between charity and philanthropy lies in intention and involvement. Charity usually meets an immediate need, but philanthropy seeks long-term solutions. When there was an earthquake in Japan, we knew that donating money was important, but that wouldn't be enough to create significant change. The real impact came from the small actions of our employees, who got directly involved in helping communities. That kind of attitude is what really transforms lives. It's not about the grandeur of the gesture, but about consistency and the genuine desire to make a difference. Finally, true philanthropy is accessible to everyone. It doesn't matter how big the contribution. What matters is how willing you are to act and get involved. Many people think that you have to be a multimillionaire to be a philanthropist, but that couldn't be further from the truth. If you have a good heart and are willing to commit to action, you are already doing philanthropy. Personal success, in fact, is intrinsically linked to how much you can contribute to the success of others. Ultimately, the value of action lies in your ability to transform the world around you. The impact of philanthropic actions is undeniable, but what sustains a company's continued success is the commitment of its team. And when we talk about teams, it's essential to recognize the crucial role of women. At Alibaba, almost half of our employees are women, and 37% of senior leadership positions are held by women. I've always been clear about this. The secret of Alibaba's success is directly related to gender diversity. If you want your company to be good, hire women. If you want your company to be excellent, ensure that men and women work together. It's this mix that brings different perspectives and innovative solutions. Women bring a sensitivity and holistic vision that men often lack. They are caring and at the same time incredibly focused on growth and innovation. I realized early on in my journey that the balance between men and women generates not only a more inclusive work environment, but also amazing results. I firmly believe that if more women were leading countries and organizations, the world would be a much more peaceful and harmonious place. In the end, inclusion is a powerful action that shapes the future of companies and society. And don't think that this is just a question of equality. Women have unique skills that, when applied to the workplace, transform the way businesses operate. They are resilient and have an incredible ability to see beyond the present, looking at the long-term impact of decisions made today. At Alibaba, women are essential to our continued growth, and I am convinced that without them, we would not have come this far. Diversity is not just a question of fairness. It is a catalyst for innovation and success. If you're building a business, don't underestimate the importance of creating a working environment that values female talent. The best ideas emerge when different voices are heard. It's not enough just to include women. You need to ensure that they have the space to lead, innovate, and contribute their visions. One of the biggest mistakes a leader can make is to think that innovation only comes from the technical or financial side of a business. In fact, many of the greatest changes and solutions come from those that are directly linked to people and their needs. This balance of perspectives has been fundamental in my journey and is what will continue to shape the future of business. However, in order to maintain this constant innovation, we also need to foster an environment where new ideas can flourish. And that brings us to another essential point for success: the importance of innovation. Balancing different perspectives is essential, but what really drives companies forward is innovation. At Alibaba, we have always looked for ways to do things differently. From the start, our goal wasn't just to create an e-commerce platform. We wanted to transform the way small businesses operate and connect with the world. Innovation, for me, is not just about developing new technologies, but about finding more effective and creative solutions to problems that already exist. This is a fundamental truth on the road to success. Those who innovate are the ones who survive and thrive in an ever-changing world. Innovation, however, doesn't happen overnight. It is the result of a lot of trial and error and adjustments along the way. When we founded Alibaba, we experienced countless failures, but we never stopped trying new things. Every mistake was a learning opportunity, and every small advance brought a new idea to improve what we were building. To innovate, you need to be willing to experiment, and more importantly, to fail. Success is built on a continuous cycle of trying, learning, and adjusting. Without this commitment to constant innovation, stagnation is inevitable. And the truth is that innovation doesn't mean reinventing the wheel all the time. Sometimes it's a matter of looking at what already exists and finding more efficient ways of doing things. This is how we approached logistics at Alibaba. E-commerce was nothing new, but we realized that we could improve the experience for small businesses and make it more accessible. Innovation can be in the details, and it's often the small incremental changes that make the biggest impact. You don't always have to look for the big revolutionary idea. Instead, ask yourself, how can I improve what is already available to me? That's why I always say that true innovation comes from action. Many people have good ideas, but what sets apart those who manage to turn those ideas into reality is the will to act. Innovation without action is just a dream. When you are constantly trying new approaches and refining your ideas, innovations begin to emerge naturally. That's how Alibaba grew. Not because we had a brilliant idea, but because we were always willing to learn from our mistakes and act quickly and efficiently. As the world continues to change, innovation becomes even more crucial, especially in times of technological disruption, such as the digital revolution we are experiencing. Only those businesses that manage to adapt and innovate continuously will survive. And this leads us to think about the impact of these technological changes on the future of work and the opportunities that will arise for those who are prepared to embrace them. As innovation continues to shape the business world, the technological revolution is bringing even more profound changes. We are living in an era where automation and artificial intelligence are transforming the way we work. And this raises a crucial question. How do we prepare for a future where machines will do many of the tasks that today are done by people? At Alibaba, we realized early on that technology would completely reshape the future of work. But one thing is certain, no matter how advanced machines become, they can never replace human creativity and wisdom. That's why I firmly believe that we should focus on developing skills that machines cannot master. Machines can be faster, more precise, and more efficient at certain tasks, but they can't feel. They can't empathize, and they can't think creatively in the same way that we do. In the future, we shouldn't compete with machines on what they do best. Instead, we need to focus on developing our human capabilities, skills such as creativity, empathy, and complex problem solving. This is the true path to human prosperity in the midst of the technological revolution. One example that always makes me smile is when I lost to artificial intelligence in the game of Go. Why compete with a machine at something it does better? That experience reminded me that trying to outdo machines at technical tasks is pointless. We need to focus on our unique abilities. Machines can win on the Go board, but they can never be as creative and empathetic as a human being. That's the secret to surviving and thriving in the future of work. Focusing on being more human, developing emotional intelligence, and cultivating creativity. The big question we must all ask ourselves is, are we prepared for this transformation? Technology will continue to advance, and many of the professions we know today will not exist in the future. However, this also means that new opportunities, new industries, and new career paths will emerge. To excel in this uncertain future, we need to commit to continuous learning and adaptation. We can't sit back and wait for the changes to hit us. We need to act and prepare ourselves to lead these changes. This technological revolution is not a threat, but an opportunity if we know how to take advantage of it. The future of work will not only be defined by what machines can do, but by what we as human beings will be able to create and build. And this leads us to an important reflection. How are we preparing for this future? This is one of the biggest challenges that the new generations will face, and it is up to each of us to act now to ensure that we are ready for what is to come. With the technological revolution shaping the future of work, it's clear that we can't expect things to stay the same. Machines may dominate many tasks, but that doesn't mean there's no room for us. The key to thriving in this new landscape is preparation. When I was young, I faced countless rejections and failures. And instead of getting down on myself, I used each of these experiences to strengthen myself and learn new skills. The future is not a place to be afraid of, but a field of opportunities for those who are willing to keep learning and adapting. For young people, my advice is simple. Never stop learning. Education doesn't end when you leave school. On the contrary, it really begins when you face the real world. What you learn today will be the basis of your success tomorrow. And I'm not just talking about formal education. The ability to learn from your own experiences, to be curious, and to constantly seek self-development is what will determine your success in a future where knowledge is constantly evolving. Automation may eliminate many jobs, but it will also create new ones. The key is to be prepared to reinvent yourself. It's interesting to think about how previous generations viewed work. My grandfather used to say that he worked 18 hours a day and still felt busy. Today, we work 8 hours a day and feel the same way. In the future, our grandchildren may only work 3 or 4 hours a day, and they'll still say they're busy. The pace of work will change, but what can't change is our dedication to preparing for that future. If you want to be successful, you need to be proactive. The future won't wait for you, it's coming. And the only way to prosper is to act now. The future will be challenging, yes, but also full of opportunities for those who have the courage to innovate and keep learning. Success in the future will not only be measured by your technical ability, but by your ability to adapt and learn new skills quickly. When I look back, I realize that every rejection I faced, every failure I experienced, prepared me for the challenges I face today. And that's the lesson I want to pass on. Every obstacle is a chance to learn. Take every opportunity to become better, stronger, and more prepared for what lies ahead. Ultimately, what defines us are not the moments of success, but the moments when we are challenged and choose to continue. The future belongs to those who are willing to act, those who prepare tirelessly, and those who never stop learning. This preparation is fundamental because the road to the future is full of uncertainties. But one thing is certain: those who are prepared will prosper. And that brings us to a truth that few understand. Failure is often our greatest teacher. When people look at me, they often see a successful man. But what they don't realize is that success didn't come easily or quickly. The road to this point was paved with countless failures. Founding Alibaba was one of the biggest challenges of my life. And during the first few years, we made over 1,000 mistakes. But here's the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Every time we fail, we learn something new. Failure is a powerful teacher, and the lessons it offers us are essential for anyone who wants to achieve real success. Many people are afraid of failure, but what I've learned is that failure teaches us what success never can. It forces us to examine our weaknesses, adjust our course, and improve. I remember every no I received at the start of my career. I applied for dozens of jobs and was rejected every time. I was even turned down to work at KFC. But instead of letting those rejections discourage me, I used each one as motivation to keep trying. That's why I say that failure is a blessing in disguise. It prepares us to be stronger and more resilient. If you really want to succeed, you need to get used to the idea of failure. This may seem counterintuitive, but it's reality. Nobody learns anything when everything is going well. The most valuable lessons come from the moments when you face challenges and difficulties. At the beginning of Alibaba, when we faced difficulties, I would always remind myself that with every failure, we were one step closer to getting it right. And the same thing goes for anyone who is striving for success. Every time you fail, you are actually getting closer to something greater. The problem is that many people give up after the first mistake. They see failure as a signal to stop, when in fact, it's an invitation to continue. Imagine if I had given up after the first mistakes at Alibaba. We would never have built the company it is today. Resilience is one of the most important skills that any entrepreneur or professional can develop. It helps you to see failure not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity for growth. And believe me, if you learn to learn lessons from your failures, you'll be able to transform any situation. What defines success is not the number of times you win, but the number of times you get up after falling. Each failure offers a new learning opportunity, a new chance to try again in a better way. The success that many see today is the result of many failures that came before. And this is one of the most important truths you should take into the future. Learn to embrace failure and use it as fuel for your success. And speaking of the future, this leads us to think about something crucial, the role of education in preparing us for what's to come. If failure is one of our greatest teachers, education must be the fertile ground where these lessons are planted and nurtured. But here's the truth. Today's education system is not preparing our young people for the future that awaits them. In the next 30 years, what we teach in schools today will be obsolete. We need a radical change in the way we think about education. Machines are becoming smarter and more efficient, but what machines will never be able to learn are the human skills that truly matter: creativity, empathy, and the ability to solve complex problems. I believe that the future of education will not be about memorizing facts or following ready-made formulas. It will be about teaching people to think critically, to adapt quickly, and above all, to be problem solvers. If our young people continue to be educated like machines, we will lose what makes humanity special. When I think about the future of education, I see the need to encourage curiosity, the ability to ask questions, and the courage to face challenges. We can no longer afford to prepare our children for the jobs of yesterday. We need to prepare them for the world of tomorrow. One interesting change I've seen in recent years is how education is starting to transform to keep up with this uncertain future. Online learning platforms, practical skills courses, and the teaching of soft skills are gaining ground, and that's just the beginning. However, we need to do more. Today's children must be taught to be innovative, to fail with confidence, and to learn from those failures. The world doesn't need more robotic workers who follow orders without question. We need creative thinkers who can deal with an ever-changing world. At Alibaba, we always value those who bring new ideas to the table, even if those ideas don't initially work. Innovation is born out of continuous education, constant learning, and a willingness to take on new challenges. And this is exactly what we need to teach the next generation. We can no longer educate them to conform to a system. We must prepare them to create new systems. The education of the future will be about how we can use our imagination to solve problems that don't even exist yet. Transformation in education is not just necessary, it is urgent. Success in the future will not be measured by how much you know, but by how much you can learn and adapt. And that's the kind of education we need to cultivate. As we move into this new world, the focus must always be on human skills that machines will never be able to master. And one of those skills is perseverance, something that must be continually reinforced if we are to prepare our young people for the challenges that lie ahead. On the road to success, the most valuable thing you can have is not talent or luck, but perseverance. I remember a time, right at the start of my career, when I was turned down for more than 30 jobs. Even KFC said no to me when I tried for a position. It was a challenging period, but one thing never changed: my determination. If I had given up after the first few rejections, there would be no Alibaba today. And that's the most important lesson I want to share with you. Success only comes to those who keep trying, even when everything seems to be going wrong. The truth is that many people give up before they even start. They have a great idea or a dream, but at the first sign of difficulty, they back down. It's not easy to keep going when you face rejection or failure, but it's exactly at these times that you need to stand firm. As I always say, failure is just the start of something new. Every time I heard no, I became more determined to keep going. The difference between people who succeed and those who don't is not in the opportunities they have, but in their ability to persevere. So if you're facing difficulties right now, remember that every obstacle is an opportunity to learn and grow. One story that struck me was when, after so many failures, one of my teachers said to me, "Jack, you'll never make it. Give up and take another path." I could have taken that advice, but I decided that I wouldn't be defined by the limits that others placed on me. What I want you to understand is that if you give up easily, you'll never know what you're capable of. Persevering doesn't mean you'll never fail. It means you're willing to try again, even when all seems lost. It is this attitude that separates dreamers from achievers. People are often surprised when I talk about the challenges I faced. They see Alibaba's success today and think it was all easy. But the truth is that the success we see in the world is the result of years of hard work, dedication, and above all, perseverance. Nobody sees the sleepless nights, the mistakes, the moments of doubt, but it was these moments that prepared me for the great successes that came later. The question you have to ask yourself is, am I willing to keep going even when it seems impossible? And this is where the importance of taking action comes in. Success doesn't wait for those who stand still, waiting for the perfect moment. It comes to those who keep moving, however slowly. Every little step counts. Action is what turns dreams into reality. And perseverance is the fuel that keeps that constant movement going. Now think about how you can apply this to your own life and ask yourself, are you ready to take action despite the challenges? This brings us to another crucial issue for the future, the role of technology in creating a more sustainable world. While perseverance is the engine that drives us to act, technology is the tool we can use to create real and lasting solutions. I strongly believe that technology has the potential to solve some of the biggest challenges facing the world today, from climate change to poverty. At Alibaba, we have used technology to empower small businesses, optimize logistics, and reduce waste. Our goal is not only to boost business, but also to create a more sustainable world. And here's the key point. Technology alone is not enough. It needs to be used with purpose, guided by a vision of positive impact. I'm often asked how I see the future of sustainability. I believe that technology can play a crucial role, but only if it is used intelligently and responsibly. It's not just about innovation for innovation's sake, but about using technological tools to create real solutions to real problems. For example, the digitalization of business has helped to reduce the use of paper, while automation has improved efficiency in supply chains, reducing the waste of resources. When I think about Alibaba, I think about how we can continue to use technology not only to grow, but to help small businesses grow sustainably too. One of the most significant moments I experienced was when we started using technology to connect small businesses in remote regions with the global market. The idea that a store in a small village could sell its products to the whole world showed me the true transformative power of technology. But it's not just about profit, it's about creating a positive impact on people's lives and the environment. Sustainability should be a priority for all businesses, big or small. And technology offers us a powerful way to achieve it. The world is changing rapidly, and globalization has brought huge inequalities. Technology, when used correctly, can level the playing field, giving everyone the opportunity to participate and prosper. But it's important to remember that it's not enough to have the technology. You have to act with it consciously. At Alibaba, we invest heavily in technological innovations, but always with the aim of creating solutions that improve people's lives. I believe that if more companies start using technology in this way, we can build a future where economic progress and sustainability go hand in hand. The question we should all ask ourselves is, are we using technology in a way that really helps to build a better future? Success is not just about financial growth, but about the positive impact we create along the way. And if we use technology wisely, we have the power to transform the world into a more sustainable and inclusive place. And that brings us to the next challenge, ensuring that everyone has access to the opportunities that this technological revolution brings. Technology has the power to transform the world, but it will only be truly impactful if it is accessible to everyone. One of the biggest challenges we face today is ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to participate in this technological revolution. Globalization has brought many benefits, but it has also created huge inequalities. It is our duty as leaders and entrepreneurs to ensure that no one is left behind. At Alibaba, we have always been committed to using technology to empower small businesses, especially in disadvantaged regions. Because true success is not just about what you achieve, but about how you help others to achieve it too. Digital inclusion is not just about connecting people to the internet. It's about ensuring that everyone has the tools, knowledge, and opportunities they need to thrive. I remember when we launched the eWorld Trade Platform, EWTP, a project that fills me with pride. The idea was simple: to give small businesses anywhere in the world the chance to sell their products globally, competing on an equal footing with large corporations. Inclusion isn't just a nice word, it's an action, and it's up to us to make sure that action becomes reality. We often think that technological innovations only benefit the rich or those with access to great resources, but the real revolution happens when we manage to get these innovations into the hands of those who need them most. At Alibaba, we have always believed that by empowering small businesses and entrepreneurs, we are creating a much greater impact than simply increasing our own growth. Technology can be a great equalizer, but only if we make inclusion a priority in everything we do. As I always say, if you help the people around you to grow, you will grow with them. The challenge of inclusion is global, but the solutions start locally. If we want a fairer and more equitable future, we need to invest in education, infrastructure, and, above all, people. It's not just about opening doors. It's about ensuring that everyone has the ability to walk through them. True inclusion requires continuous action. At Alibaba, we are constantly looking for ways to reduce barriers for small businesses around the world. This is what makes the technological revolution significant, the positive impact it can have on the lives of ordinary people. Inclusion must be at the heart of any growth strategy. Technology will only be a true success when it can benefit everyone, regardless of where they live or their resources. And this inclusive vision must guide the decisions we make now to ensure a better future. What can you do to ensure that no one is left behind? The answer to this question will be crucial for the future of global trade, which is the next step in this journey of action and innovation.
Throughout his career, Jack Ma has left an undeniable legacy of perseverance, innovation, and global impact. Along the way, he has shared some of the deepest and sometimes hardest to accept truths about success. In this video, Jack Ma brought valuable lessons, highlighting that success is not the result of chance, but of continuous action and the ability to learn from failure. He revealed how, despite facing rejection and difficulties, his persistence led him to found one of the largest companies in the world, Alibaba, and to transform the lives of millions of entrepreneurs. Jack Ma addressed fundamental themes such as the power of small gestures, showing that great transformations begin with small, often invisible daily actions. He stressed the importance of acting with purpose and using technology not just as a means of business growth, but as a tool for a more sustainable and inclusive future. A striking point was the difference between charity and philanthropy, with Ma emphasizing that real change requires long-term involvement and commitment, not just momentary donations. Another central aspect discussed by Jack Ma was the essential role of women in Alibaba's success, emphasizing that diversity is one of the keys to innovation. In addition, he spoke about the need to constantly adapt in a rapidly evolving technological world, where human skills such as creativity and empathy are more valuable than ever. Ma also reflected on the future of education, warning that the current model needs to change in order to prepare future generations for the challenges of an increasingly automated world. These teachings go far beyond theories. They are practical lessons that can transform lives as long as they are applied. Jack Ma made it clear that success belongs to those who are willing to take action, fail, and keep trying. If you haven't yet put what you've learned into practice, this is your chance. Watch it again, reflect, and most importantly, start applying the knowledge shared by Jack Ma to your own journey. Now that you know Jack Ma's lessons, the real question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Ma made it clear that success is not for those who sit around waiting for the perfect conditions. It belongs to those who act, who fail, and who keep trying. So, how can you start putting these principles into practice in your life today? Think about the small gestures you can make every day to get closer to your goals. The actions that seem insignificant now, but have the power to transform your journey in the future. If you feel inspired, remember that the key to turning this inspiration into success is action. Don't let the fear of failure paralyze you. As Jack Ma taught, failure is a fundamental part of the road to success. How about starting to use technology more intelligently, or perhaps rethink how you can contribute to a more inclusive and sustainable world? These are reflections that can guide you in your quest for a more prosperous future. Whenever you need an extra boost or motivation, come back and watch this video again. Jack Ma's teachings are a continuous source of inspiration. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep learning from content like this. And of course, we have more valuable insights waiting for you in the next video. How I accepted failure as part of success. Best motivational videos, Jack Ma. Don't miss the opportunity to keep learning and growing.